Good. All right, I'd like to welcome everyone to the October 9th, 2017 meeting of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners. If everyone would please rise and join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. I'm Jeff Benton, President of the Board. To my left is Vice President Gary Merrill. To my right is fellow Commissioner Barb Willis and our County Administrator, Farzan Ahmed. And Jen Walraven is our clerk today, and will let us begin.
Okay. Resolution number 17-1039, in the matter of approving the electronic record of proceedings from regular meeting held October 5th, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 17-1039. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
We do not have public comment or elected official comment today, so that brings us to item number 4, resolution number 17-1040. In the matter of approving purchase orders, then and now certificates and payments of warrants in batch number CM APR 1006.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 17-1040. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-1041, in the matter of approving travel expense request.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 17-1041. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-1042, in the matter of accepting a donation from BST&G Fire District in support of Delaware County Emergency Medical Services.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Chief Shearing, Delaware County MS. This is resolving to the acceptance of CPR equipment that is used for education and training. BST&G Fire Department bought this some years ago and had found that they had little use for it and decided that it would be better appropriated to Delaware County, where we do a lot of CPR training. So we're delighted to receive this equipment because ours is aging, because we use it a lot, and I would be very happy to request the approval of this resolution.
Okay. Yeah, it's very nice of our colleagues in BST&G to offer that and let people use it countywide.
Excellent. Yeah, it absolutely is, because the amount of people that we're doing through this training and education is a lot bigger than what we ever anticipated, and this is very helpful because this equipment is used a lot and it wears out very quickly.
All right. Okay. All right. Vote.
Vote on motion 17-1042. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you.
Resolution number 17-1043, in the matter of accepting a donation made to the Department of Job and Family Services.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. David Dombrowski with Job and Family Services. So we have a donation of 5 bikes and 5 skateboards from United Parcel Service to be used for foster kids. So the total value of the donation is over $500. So we're asking...
Oh, skateboard this morning, did you?
I did not. I don't play with the toys we get for the most part. Notice I said for the most part.
Well, it's very nice of the UPS.
Yes.
to donate that, and I'm sure they'll be put to good use.
That's great.
All right. Vote.
Vote on motion 17-1043. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Thank you.
Be careful, David.
Thank you.
Resolution number 17-1044, in the matter of approving the sanitary sewer developers agreement for Orange Point out parcels.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mike Fomer, sanitary engineer. We have a standard subdividers development agreement here for this property, and we're recommending your approval as presented.
All right. Vote.
Vote on motion 17-1044. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-1045, in the matter of approving a services agreement with MJL Resources LLC to complete an operations assessment at the Alum Creek Water Reclamation Facility, Olentangy Environmental Control Center, and the Lower Scioto Water Reclamation Facility.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes, Commissioners, this assessment is kind of a follow-on to our master plan. You know, our master plan really took a very comprehensive view on the condition of our facilities and what needed to be done from a capital standpoint. This is going to take a real fine look at our, daily workflow and our operation and how we're staffing and different things like that. So I think this will provide a lot of input on things we are doing very well and some other things that we could tweak to do better, so.
Okay. Yeah, I want to compliment you on taking the leadership to improve efficiency. Again, I think that's what we owe our taxpayers, and it's a great idea to continue to figure out ways to be more efficient. So, thank you. All right, vote.
Vote on motion 17-1045, Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-1046, in the matter of approving the plat of subdivision for Orange Point out parcels.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Good morning, Commissioners. Rob Riley, Chief Deputy Engineer. This plat has been approved by all the required agencies and involves 4 new commercial lots off of 23 at Orange Point Drive, and we recommend approval.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 17-1046, Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-1047, in the matter of approving a ditch maintenance petition and the ditch maintenance assessments for Carter Farms, CAD, and Orange Point out parcels.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
This is our standard expedited drainage maintenance petition for development for the Orange Point parcels I just mentioned, and also for a small CAD subdivision off of Carter's Corner Road, and we recommend approval.
Vote.
Vote on motion 17-1047, Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-1048, in the matter of approving owner's agreement for Creekside Industrial Park, Graphical Sway Extension, Old Harbor Estates Section 2, Olentangy Falls Section 4, Phase B, and Orange Point out parcels.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, this is our standard owner's agreement providing for street and stormwater construction. This includes 8 new lots at the Creekside Industrial Park, 24 lots in the Old Harbor Estates, which is off of South Old State Road, and 13 lots in Olentangy Falls, Section 4, as well as the extension of Graphics Way, which is in conjunction with that Orange Point development.
Okay. Vote.
Vote on motion 17-1048, Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-1049, in the matter of accepting improvements within the project known as Courtyards at Maxtown Left Turn Lane.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
The turn lane improvements for this development off of Maxtown Road were completed, and at this time we recommend approval and acceptance of those improvements.
Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 17-1049, Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-1050, in the matter of awarding a bid and approving the contract between the Delaware County Commissioners and G&G Enterprises Complete Excavating Services, LLC, for the project known as Scott number 604, lateral number 2, Drainage Improvement Project, Delaware County.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
This is the Scott Lateral Drainage Improvement Project. If you recall, it's located off of Pyatt Road in Berlin Township. The bid from G&G Enterprises was about 10% below the estimated cost of $123,000. Theirs was at $111,163, and we have worked with G&G before, and they do good work, and so we recommend approval of this contract.
Okay, it's good to see it come in under budget. Vote.
Vote on motion 17-1050, Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-1051, in the matter of approving a right-of-way work permit summary sheet.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
We had 12 permit applications, all standard utility work within the right-of-way, and we recommend approval.
All right, vote.
Vote on motion 17-1051. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 1-1052, in the matter of approving a new organizational key supplemental appropriations, transfer of appropriations, and transfer of funds for the Smothers and Red Bank Shot intersection improvements.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
This action would basically set up the accounting for the new Smothers and Red Bank intersection project. We are not asking for any additional funds, rather just transferring current appropriation out of the road and bridge account into this fund so that we can track the federal expenditures on this job.
Okay. Commissioner Lewis has a question.
Yes, I noticed there's a lot of activity on Smothers and Red Bank, and moving some of the utilities. Is that what they're doing, do you know?
Yes, they're just getting started on that. Franklin County is also working on the utility, I should say the right-of-way acquisition, getting started on that.
Okay.
So you'll start to see a lot of activity in that area once utilities start getting moved.
Okay. That big electrical box that blocks the
Yeah, I think
utility, I bet.
that's a telephone cable
Or maybe-
enclosure. but
yeah,
yes,
maybe it's that,
Yes, that
right.
definitely has to move because the
Okay, great.
roundabout will essentially be right in the middle of that.
A lot of people are going to be happy
Yes,
with
yes.
that. Yeah. Thank you, Ron.
Okay. Vote.
Vote on motion 17-1052. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Ben?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
Resolution number 17-1053, in the matter of approving supplemental appropriations and a transfer of funds for developmental disabilities.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Chris Hodge, Superintendent, Delaware County Board of Developmental Disabilities, before you today because we have a work project of our roof. Our roof needs to be completely replaced. So we have gone through the proper channels. We've worked with John Melvin at the county and Cy Keeley regarding the appropriations that need to happen in order to complete this roof renovation project. So that is what is before you today. And we have the lowest and best bid and the different transfers that need to happen. Be willing to answer any questions.
Do you have any questions? Yeah. You know, we've been updated on this and got a memo and more providing the background, more detail that I appreciate you sending ahead of time, so I'm good with it. All right, we'll take a vote.
Vote on motion 17-1053. Mr. Ben?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Number 18 is on me.
Yep.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Administrator.
Good morning, Priscilla.
I wanted to just briefly discuss with you something that we will probably bring before you for a vote next session on Thursday. For some time now, the department directors have been working together to come up with organizational metrics in their areas. Since Mike is sitting here, I can mention a couple of things we are looking for in his area. I think one of the things we looked at was the capacity. What is the capacity of an existing plant? How many households or how many equivalents does it service? What's left? And what is the cost of providing that service? In other words, maybe it's costing so much to maintain so much capacity and so on and so forth. That's one way of looking at it. I think once we start with the basics, then we can expand it into looking at cost of doing business. John Melvin is not here, but in his area, we were looking at different types of work orders. And, these things are evolutionary. You start with something, and then as you go through it, maybe you start changing the way you're going to measure. So when we started this process in the facilities area, I'm using that as an example. In the facilities area, we looked at the number of change orders, number of work orders. That doesn't tell you anything. Is 5,000 work orders better than 6,000? Is 3,000 better than 4,000? It's just a measurement of activity. So as we went through the process, we realized that we had three types of work orders. We had emergencies, non-emergencies, and then pre-planned. So what John did was he assigned time frames to each different types of these activities, and now that becomes the measurable. So we have these types of measurables for each area, but they are in different formats because functions are different. And what we would like to do is bring in a data specialist to help us put all of this together in one large dashboard. Counties have not done that in Ohio. Many cities have done it. Cincinnati has done a dashboard that we think is okay. Louisville, Kentucky has done a very good dashboard that we've all looked at, and we would like to move forward with that. So right now, obviously, I'm not asking you to vote on anything. I will share the contract with, I think I have. I just wanted you to think about this and be apprised about this, and maybe afterwards we can have individual discussions if you'd like more information, and then bring this to a vote next Thursday. And I'd be happy to answer any questions, if you have any questions now.
One of the questions I had was just who would be included in this work with this proposed contract?
We will start with everybody under the Board of Commissioners, every office under the Board of Commissioners. And Pam Sonageri with the Sheriff's Office was sitting with us when we had this discussion, and actually they wanted to get involved as well. And their metrics would be the number of calls they get per station, per, what do they call it? It's not a station. Sector? By area. I can't remember the exact term that they use, but they have divided the county into 7 or 8 different areas, so what is the amount of work that's being done by each area? So I thought that's a good measure, and the other agencies that I've mentioned, they actually show their emergency services as well.
Are there contractors then that deal specifically with public metrics?
This particular firm that we have been talking to was recommended to me by my counterpart in Franklin County. They are a nonprofit organization, and they primarily deal with public agencies.
Yeah, I think I've done a lot of this over the years, and obviously I support the concept of measurements. But there's a couple things you have to watch out for. One is just an absolute measurement by itself isn't terribly meaningful.
Sure.
But trend lines are. So as we get a stake in the ground, then we can measure the productivity, efficiency against that original stake. Another thing is comparing to other jurisdictions is very difficult to do.
Yes.
Because people measure differently and do things differently, organize differently. So, I'm hesitant that would provide much value. But within our offices and departments, I think it can be extremely valuable. And again, they will know best how their functions work. So for us as outsiders or an outsider to come in and say, here's the measurement you want, that's not going to be the best approach. So again, I think it's great. We need to do this and start tracking it and publishing it and tweaking it and then expanding it, to include everybody. And I'd like to see something for the county as a whole.
Okay.
When you look at the total county spending, total county revenues, what major efficiency measurements can we generate, and then begin to track at the total county level. So anyway, again, I think it's a great idea.
I think the couple of things that you mentioned, you cannot compare it with others because no two counties are the same. No two exact counties are set up exactly the same way, so that is exactly right. The key is trend lines. We have to look at the trend lines, but then translate those trend lines into productivity. That is hard, but the first step is what we want to do, and then move on from there.
I think it's a good idea. Good. I think that's it for that item. Administrative reports?
Now he has administrative report, so you're still up.
I will consider that to be my report as well.
Okay.
All right.
That brings us to commissioner reports.
All right. We'll let Commissioner Merrill start it.
Attended the Morpsey Executive meeting last Thursday, and then tomorrow I'll be at the DCAM Executive Board meeting at 12:30, followed by the board meeting for all of us at 1:30, and then I know we have a work session tomorrow evening with the Finance Authority, so we're going to have you probably going to report on that. I apologize.
Oh, no.
And then Wednesday morning, I have a event downtown. I was unable to attend last year. Columbus State does an event. And I don't have the paperwork right here in front of me, but it's an all-morning event, so I'll be at that. And then that's pretty much my week till Thursday, so we're going to be busy.
Yeah.
It's a busy week.
That Columbus State thing, I saw that too, wasn't able to go.
Yeah, I couldn't go last year because there was some conflict. I don't recall what it was, but it worked out this year, and I felt Dr. Harrison's. We're acquaintances. I don't like to use the word friends, but we're good acquaintances. I have a lot of respect for him, and so I wanted to go as a courtesy and kind of just hear what they have to talk about.
Good.
So.
Good. Yeah, Columbus State's an important part of the community and a growing part.
Exactly right.
Good.
All right. We had our quarterly Stepping Up meeting, last Thursday afternoon, and basically an update on all we're doing, and it just brought home the point about we're actually ahead of so many counties, probably everybody, maybe except Franklin County. But we're really moving along. Again, thanks so much to Cassie Neff and the sheriff's office there. And the cooperation is just amazing among all of the different office holders, all the departments and everything. And then we followed that up with community corrections meeting and a quarterly meeting on that too. And again, the same thing, a lot of the same people were there, but once again, the cooperation across the board is really gratifying, and we're way ahead. And so, but moving on, new challenges always, so moving right along. And that's it.
Great. Okay, good, yeah, good. Yeah, again, we are showing real leadership and stepping up and addressing so many of the issues that need to be addressed. So good work there. Just one of the, I guess we have the Wedgewood viewing this afternoon, the ditch petition viewing down in Wedgewood, and that's at 1:30. I did also want to mention, I wanted to ask Commissioner Lewis if she's ever seen 2 top 10 teams lose at home to unranked teams ever in a weekend before. I don't know if Commissioner Lewis, did you ever see that?
Yeah, I don't think I have.
I just wondered.
That up. I was
Michigan
shocked.
and Oklahoma both lost at home to unranked teams. And I just thought I'd mention how rare that is. But anyway.
What was the score?
And Ohio State won.
What was the score last night in the baseball game?
Okay, well, the Indians are leading 2-1 in the playoffs. And so if they win tonight, I will bring hamburger and donut or cinnamon rolls in the morning. So everybody wants the Indians to win.
They were very lucky in the second game right there, that ball that hit over the bat that was called a walk.
That wasn't luck. That was a grand slam. Okay, so with that, we do have need for executive session.
We do have need for executive session today. Resolution number 17-1054, in the matter of adjourning into executive session for consideration of collective bargaining.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Vote?
Vote on motion 17-1054. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
All right, we're in executive session.